And Air Force Times, good morning. This is Mission Control Houston. Please call the International Space Station for a voice check.
Station, this is the Air Force Times. How do you hear me?
We read you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
Great. This question is for all the astronauts. I'm wondering if you could tell me how your experience as Air Force and Navy pilots prepared you for this mission.
Well, this is Terry Virts, and I'm an Air Force pilot by background, and that was probably the most important training and formation and foundation that I had to be an astronaut. There's something about my experience as being a pilot that helps the way you think. You think in an operational manner. You learn how to prioritize what's important and what's not, and do things in the appropriate order when there's something that comes up out of the ordinary. And it also helps you to communicate when you don't have a long time and you have to get your point across quickly and clearly. And so being a pilot is probably the most important training. It's for sure the most important training that I've had and that we still do as astronauts. And all the astronauts have aviation training of some kind or other, even if they weren't military pilots. It's what we do in the astronaut office. And if you want an answer from all of us, I'll let Samantha and Butch are both Air Force and Navy pilots also, so I'll let Samantha add to that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I would say a number of things from my pilot training and background helped me. For sure, the habit of dealing with complex machines and complex operational environments helps you a lot to, when you're flying to space and you're doing just that. You're part of a team. Everybody counts on you doing exactly what you were trained for at the right moment, following the procedures, taking the right decisions at the right time. And that's exactly what we train for as military pilots. And then just there's a general aspect of military life that I think teaches you perseverance, teamwork, putting the goals of the team ahead of your personal goals, self-discipline, all that kind of stuff I think helps you a lot in the astronaut job as well.
Well, going third, I don't have much to add to that. I'd say I'd echo everything they said, but as a naval aviator, same thing. Certainly, I think the one thing maybe they didn't mention that I would add is you're put in stressful situations when you're in training. Flying a jet aircraft, maybe not so terribly difficult, but when you start employing all the capabilities of that airframe and leading multiple airplanes in combat scenarios, that's very challenging, can be very stressful, and dealing with all those things, multitasking, is certainly something that helps you for this job right here, without a question.
Wonderful. And when is your next spacewalk, and how do you prepare for it?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that's what Butch and I are in the middle of doing right now, is preparing for it. Most recently, I just took the spacesuits and got them resized so that they fit me. Every spacesuit has different adjustments you can make on the arms and legs and gloves to fit the individual astronaut, and so we just went through that process. Yesterday, Butch was in there getting the water loops cleaned out, making sure the fans work. So every day for the next few weeks, there's different tasks that we're doing in terms of getting prepared for it. We have to get the tools all ready. We had to build up some tools for one of the greasing lubrication events we're going to do on the robotic arm outside. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into getting ready for the spacewalk. And Butch and I are going to be doing our 3 spacewalks, while Samantha has the most important job of getting us suited up and getting us back in and out of the spacesuits, which is a pretty big task in itself. So the 3 of us will be very busy getting ready for and executing those spacewalks.
Okay. And have you done a spacewalk prior, or will this be your first?
Yeah, I had the opportunity before Terry and Samantha got here in October to go outside, and truly amazing and thrilling. But one thing that I'll have to say is it's about 2%. Oh my goodness! Wow! Look at the sights. Look at all the beautiful the earth below, and about 98% work. It's a lot of work in preparing to go outside. It's a lot of work while you're outside, and it's 5 hours in the suit thereabouts before you even open the hatch. And then you're 6 and a half hours outside, and then once you get back in, you've got to clean up the suit. You can't just go straight to bed. There's a lot of work, so it's a long day, a lot involved. Certainly something we look forward to, though. It'll be a good day.
Right. And can you describe what it feels like?
Almost impossible to describe. Almost impossible. I think the one comment I would make is that just realizing that you and whoever you're going out with, we never go alone. We always go in two or more. That you're the only people in the universe doing this unique thing and having this opportunity. It's quite humbling, actually, to be able to do it and to experience it. It truly is.
Great. And if you have a minute, if you could talk a little bit. This question is also for everyone. Any experiments you are currently doing aboard the space station?
Well, right now the space station is really a very, very busy microgravity laboratory. The Dragon spacecraft came up a couple of weeks ago, and it took up a lot of experiments that now we are running. So it happens very often, actually, that Butch, Terry, and I are all working in parallel on like 3 different experiments, and there's like comm going on space to ground on like 3 different, completely different topics. I have personally worked on a lot of human physiology experiments. There is one called Drain Brain that studies the return of blood from the head towards the heart. There is another one which is called airway monitoring. Terry and I just did a session last week that studies, for the first time really in microgravity and in the space environments, what happens to our lungs and to the gas exchange in our lungs when we breathe. And one that's happening right here, actually, next to where we are now, which is dealing with fruit flies. And it's actually very interesting, a multi-generation experiment. So we're actually breeding several generations of fruit flies, and then, some frozen samples of the different generations will go back to Earth on Dragon, and scientists on the ground can examine them. And something similar I'm actually doing with the Japanese experiments on worms. And in that case, we're also actually breeding several generations of those and see how adaptation to spaceflight actually gets transmitted from one generation to the next. So very exciting science, and a lot more, of course, but I don't want to take up all the time here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Would you like more science? Because we could certainly go on. There's a lot of stuff going on. Actually, if I could turn that camera around, you'd see a pink Columbus module on the other end of the station, and we're growing plants there, and the light that's used for the plant growth is pink, so it looks pretty cool, especially at night when you turn all the other lights off. Today, my experiment of the day is working on Robonaut. It's a big humanoid type of robot that we have that hopefully eventually will be able to go outside and do some of the spacewalking tasks for us. But right now he just got legs, so today is the big day that he's going to be able to move his legs for the first time. And I've been working on an experiment called CSLM is the acronym. It's a material science experiment where they melt and mix different metal alloys and look at the process of cooling the alloys down. And so there's like Samantha said, every day it's a different experiment, and there's lots and lots of it.
Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Air Force Times portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from the Houston Chronicle.
Station, this is the Houston Chronicle. How do you hear me?
We've got you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
I hear you guys just fine. Thanks so much for making the time today. There was a lot of excitement this week about the Dragon and CST-100. I know you guys have had a visit from the Dragon up there. How important is it, do you think, for the station to have redundancy and the ability to get you guys up and down to space?
Well, it's absolutely critical. Without a vehicle to get here, obviously the space station would be in pretty bad shape. Thankfully for us, we all came here on the Soyuz, which was a great ride. It was fun, and it's a very reliable and good spacecraft, but it's going to be really good to have a spaceship launching from Florida, from America again, and Boeing and SpaceX are the 2 contractors who won that contract. And as you know, there was a press conference just the other day with our administrator and many others. And so there's definitely a big effort and focus from NASA right now to get a capability to launch humans from Florida, from America, on the NASA spacecraft with Boeing and SpaceX, and we'll also be coming on the Soyuz also. So in the future, we'll actually have 3 different ways to get here. So that redundancy is an important part of it also.
I see. Samantha, my daughter wanted me, my 7-year-old daughter wanted me to ask you a question. She was wondering if it was scary in space.
Terry has something to say about that.
Well, if you had to live with me and Butch, yes, it's very scary in space. Every morning she has to look at us.
Jokes apart, no, I don't think it's scary. I enjoy a lot being up here. It's very interesting and challenging work. It's a great working environment. It's a great living environment. It's a privilege to be up here, and it's also a lot of fun. So I hope that your daughter, on the contrary, will maybe try and get to space herself one day.
I think she'd like to go to Mars one day, so we'll see about that. Obviously, the other big news down here this week is everyone's getting excited for the Super Bowl, and I know there's a couple football fans up there. Do you guys have plans to watch the game? Are you going to be able to watch it live? Will you have traditional Super Bowl snacks, or how are you going to watch the game?
Yeah, regrettably, our bedtime, or at least my bedtime, is quite early, and the game actually comes on in the middle of the night. But I am an early riser, so I think that I get up usually around 4:30, so I think I might be able to watch the end of it. I don't know about these guys here. I'll let them speak for themselves, but I look forward to at least watching the end and seeing the outcome. And I might throw something on the grill just for myself as well.
Terry, a few days ago, you tweeted a picture of yourself, I guess, in a J.J. Watt shirt. Greatest football player on earth. I think we can all agree about that. In Houston, is Butch the greatest football player in space, given his experience at Tennessee Tech?
I think that's probably safe to say. Yeah, Miss Butch here. He was a college football player in space, and it's. Samantha is the greatest European football player, like in soccer, as we call it. But yes,
Yeah.
But yeah, we enjoy that. And whenever we do a PR with different events, we always get a football out and use that to demonstrate the zero gravity, floating.
Have you guys
But
heard
I'm
about
sure it's not only in Houston. I think most people can agree that J.J. Watt is the greatest football player, not only on Earth, but probably in the whole universe.
So in a few months, Scott Kelly is going to launch the space station for a one-year mission. Butch has been up there for a couple months longer than Terry and Samantha, but y'all been up there a few months. How much do each of you think that a one-year mission, how much of a challenge is that going to be, from a health standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, for Scott?
I don't foresee anything from a health standpoint necessarily. Scott's kind of a gym rat. He likes getting in and working out and doing those type of things, and it's an absolute necessity up here to keep yourself physically fit, to prepare yourself for the return back to Earth. And I think Scott will do that and take care of that without issue. I think one of the things that is difficult is it is concentration all day, every day. It's so much at stake up here, so many science projects, so many experiments, so many everything that people put a lot of effort into for literally for decades. And to be in charge of that, have those things in your hands, you want to make sure you get it right. So it's a lot of concentration. And over the long haul, that can wear on you. So I think that's one thing that they are aware of. They got some plans in to give a couple extra days off as the time goes on. And I think that's probably really smart.
He mentioned that, after about 4 months, he was ready to come home the last time. Have you reached that point, Butch, where you're kind of ready to come home, that 4 months is about right? Or are you still enjoying yourself and wish you could stay up there a lot longer?
I will answer that truthfully. I am not ready to come home. I would love to pipe my family up here and share some time with them, but I don't have the 4-month doldrums at all. I'm enjoying myself. They've kept us busy, interacting with the ground. The different control centers around the globe has been fun. We've tried to make it fun, have some laughs, have some good times. We kind of keep it light up here as well, and it's really an enjoyable place and such a unique environment. 4 months is not too long or long enough. I think 6 may be about right. We'll see. I'll let you know in a couple of months. But right now, I'm energetic and having a good time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So Terry and Samantha have both been sending back some great pictures from the planet. Obviously, you guys have been very excited about what you've seen. I'm interested, sort of from each of you, what's the coolest thing you've seen in space in the time you've been up there so far?
That's a really hard question to answer because there's so many cool things. It's hard to rank one above the other. I guess for me, one thing, the sunrises and sunsets is probably my favorite, but the one picture that stands out is early in the mission, we were flying over northern Europe at night when there was some aurora, and I got some pretty amazing shots of England and France and Ireland with aurora in the distance, and one night there was a big storm there, so you could see lightning going off. So that's one out of many things that stands out to me.
From my point of view, I mean, what really always triggers a special emotion for me is when we fly over Europe. But from a special perspective, I really enjoy those passes where we kind of fly over Gibraltar and onto the Mediterranean. There is something that has a special emotional connection. I think it's all the history that I relate to and the culture, and I don't know, it always resonates with me a lot. From a visual point of view, I guess I will just throw out the last thing that really impressed me that I saw yesterday. Actually, two of them. One was last week. For the first time, I had some night passes over, I guess, the Thailand area, and those like parts of the sea were like totally full of very, very bright green dots that I understand are fishing boats, and that was just so impressive. I mean, so many of them and so bright. It was an incredible sight. And that's something I saw just yesterday for the first time, which was like an aurora, and we've seen auroras multiple times, but this one was like the blue stripe, the really bright blue stripes that comes up on the earth limb when the sun rises. It kind of touched the aurora. So I had this incredible blue turning over into this incredible green of the aurora, and I had never seen that. So it was really amazing to see that.
Without question, I mean, like they said, look, the views out the window are magnificent. There's no way you could pick one, at least I can't, over the other. But without question, the memory I think I will take back is when Terry and Samantha arrived. I'd been here 2 months, and when they came in, the looks on their faces, and watching Samantha, who's a first-time flyer, finally get to a window that she could see down towards the earth and watch her expression and the things that she's trying to describe I saw take place was just thrilling to watch. It was truly amazing. It was neat.
That's very cool. So
I'll add one more thing. Last night we had a chance to, just real quick, last night we had a chance to fly over the east coast of the U.S., which was a beautiful pass. I got some great shots of it, but it was the blizzard, so you could see Atlanta, D.C., Baltimore, New York, and then it was getting cloudier and cloudier, and you could see a hurricane there. It looks like a hurricane just off the coast of Boston. That was pretty amazing to know how many people down there in America are being affected, and then to be able to see it in the moonlight, because whenever the moon shines, you can see clouds, not like daytime, but you can definitely see them. That was pretty cool. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. We're running out of time, so just a final quick question. Maybe one of y'all could describe the condition of the station. It's been up there now. It'll be 15 years inhabited later this year, and it's got a lifetime of 2024, maybe 2028. How would you describe it? Is it a well-worn house? Does it have the new car feel? Is it a clunker? How would you characterize it?
Well, the station, I think, overall is in great shape. It's in amazingly good shape for as long as it's been here. Module by module, it's different as far as the age and how new it is. Here in the Japanese module, it's like a new car in here. Everything looks brand new, and it's really kept up well. Node 1 is kind of our eating area. It was the very first American module that got launched, so that is definitely has a used car feel, not a new car feel. The American segment modules are different than the Russian segment modules, but overall, on both segments, I think it's in great shape. It requires a lot of effort. We have to constantly clean it and make sure we keep it in good shape because, like with time, like anything, it would get worn out. But we spend a lot of time cleaning it, and we get a lot of spare parts that we can replace things with, and it's in great shape.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.